If you're watching this because you found the post I made about our group chat, stop reading before you reach the last message. Mark was the first one to type. Guys, who's standing outside? 3 dots appeared beneath his name, then disappeared, then appeared again. Before anyone could answer, a new message appeared in the chat. Don't let him look through the window. Nobody recognized the account. I stared at Mark's message, then at the warning, trying to understand what I was seeing. Mark hadn't said anything about a window. He hadn't even mentioned looking outside. Then my phone vibrated again. You have 3 minutes. I laughed when I saw it. Not because anything was funny, but because sometimes your brain reaches for the wrong emotion when it has no idea what else to do. Mark, I typed. Step away from the window. He didn't answer. Instead, another message appeared. He can see you. That was when I realized something I can't explain. The warning wasn't predicting what Mark would do. It already knew. And if you think you understand what that means, you don't. I didn't either. Not until I found the final message buried beneath hundreds of deleted notifications. That message is the reason I'm writing this. For hours earlier, our group chat had been normal. We were joking, arguing, sending memes, and making plans for the weekend. At the time, we thought the warning was a joke. That was probably the last normal thought any of us had. Our group chat had existed for almost 4 years. Nobody remembered who created it. It was just there, surviving every phone upgrade, argument, breakup, and gaming phase. There were 5 of us. I was the quiet observer, the one who noticed when somebody's story didn't quite add up. Mark was the opposite. He treated every conversation like an opportunity to make the worst joke possible. Jake knew enough about computers to become unbearably confident about them. Lena was practical, organized, and the first person to say, "Guys, seriously, stop." Then there was Sam. Sam rarely talked. Sometimes we'd go 3 days without hearing from him, and then he'd suddenly send a blurry photograph at 2 in the morning with absolutely no explanation. That night, we were doing what we normally did. Mark had posted a screenshot from a horror game and claimed he'd beaten it without getting scared. Lena replied, "You screamed loud enough to wake my neighbors." Proof. I recorded you. Mark immediately wrote, "Delete that." Jake sent a laughing emoji. I sent, "Bro, that's definitely haunted." That was our little joke. Whenever someone posted anything creepy, somebody had to say it. "Bro, that's definitely haunted." We had used it so many times that it stopped being funny. There was nothing unusual about that night. No strange sounds. No warnings. No mysterious accounts. Just 5 friends wasting time online while midnight crept closer. Although, looking back, there was one detail I should have remembered. A few months earlier, Sam had vanished from an online group we all used. His account disappeared overnight, along with every message he'd ever posted. We assumed he'd deleted it. He never explained why. We didn't ask. At 12:01, Mark sent another meme. A second later, a notification appeared. A new account had joined our group. The account had no profile picture, no username we recognized, and no history. It simply appeared beneath the last message. Then it sent one sentence. "Don't let Mark open the door at 11:47 p.m. For a few seconds, nobody typed. Then Mark replied, "Which door?" I laughed. Jake sent 3 skull emojis. Lena wrote, "Very funny. Who invited you?" The account answered immediately, "The one behind you." Mark stopped typing. That was the first moment the joke died. "Mark," I wrote. No response. Jake checked the member list. 5 people. No 6th member. He refreshed the app, closed it, reopened it, and checked again. "Nothing," he said. "There's nobody here." "But we can see the message," Lena replied. Jake stopped responding. Then Mark finally typed, "Guys." Another message appeared. "I actually have a door behind me." Nobody laughed. Mark sent a picture. It showed his bedroom. A desk covered in empty cans. A gaming chair. A pile of clothes on the floor. Behind the chair was a white door. Okay, Mark wrote. Whoever's doing this, seriously? I zoomed into the photograph. There was nothing unusual. Just a door. Jake wrote, probably some glitch. Lena answered, yeah, definitely. I typed the joke anyway. Bro, that's definitely haunted. Mark sent a laughing emoji. For the next 40 minutes, nothing happened. Eventually, the conversation returned to normal. We talked about games, work, and whether Mark should be legally banned from choosing horror movies. Then, at 11:46, Mark stopped typing. A minute later, he wrote, someone's knocking. Nobody replied. 3 dots appeared beneath his name, then vanished, then appeared again. Knocks came through the voice chat. Knock, knock, knock. 3. I stared at my screen. None of us were laughing anymore. At 11:47, Mark typed, I'm opening it. Don't, Lena wrote. He opened the door. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then our phones vibrated simultaneously. Good. Now you know. The account disappeared. Not left the group. Disappeared. That should have been enough to make us leave the chat. Instead, we did what people always do when something terrifying happens online. We started investigating. The first thing we did was check whether the account had hacked one of us. Jake took charge because, according to Jake, I'm the only person here who understands how the internet works. Nobody argued. For the next 10 minutes, he searched usernames, checked account activity, and inspected every setting he could find. Nothing. Then the account sent another message. Jake will spill his coffee in 10 seconds. Jake looked at his mug. Very funny. 10 seconds later, his elbow caught the desk. Coffee spilled across his keyboard. Nobody typed. Mark finally wrote, okay, that's actually impressive. Another message appeared. Lena will receive a call from an unknown number. Her phone rang. Lena stared at it without answering. The number was blocked. Don't pick up, I said. She declined the call. Immediately, the account responded. Good. That was when we stopped laughing. Sam had been silent the entire time. Then a message appeared. Sam will type, I don't like this. A second later, Sam sent exactly those words. I don't like this. Mark wrote, at least the future has terrible grammar. Nobody laughed. Jake started testing it. He deliberately stood up, walked into the kitchen, and opened a cupboard without telling anyone. The account predicted it before he moved. Then Jake turned off his phone completely. 5 minutes later, another prediction appeared. Jake will drop his phone. Jake's phone was sitting on his desk. He hadn't touched it. Then it slid off the desk and hit the floor. That was the moment our curiosity became fear. Jake suggested the account might have access to our devices, cameras, microphones, or network. But there was a problem. We tested the predictions with our phones powered off. They still happened. Later, I found something worse in an old screenshot archive. The mysterious account had appeared in a screenshot dated months before our group chat even existed. I still don't know how that is possible. None of us knew either. You don't understand what you're dealing with, and you really should stop right now. Then the account sent one final message. Stop testing me. We stopped testing the account after that. For several minutes, nobody said anything. The chat sat there like a locked room. Then Lena noticed something. Look at the warnings, she wrote. They all tell us what not to do. She scrolled through the conversation and found the pattern. The first rule was simple. Never ignore a warning. The second was stranger. Never ask who sent it. The third made my stomach tighten. Never send a message asking what happens next. Jake read it twice. So what happens if someone does? Nobody answered. Mark did. What happens next? The message appeared beneath his name. You. Then Mark disappeared. His name vanished from the member list. His profile picture turned completely blank. But his old messages remained. His jokes were still there. His stupid memes were still there. Even the message where he'd written which door was still sitting above everything else. We tried calling him. Nothing. We messaged him privately too. Nothing. Lena started crying. Jake kept refreshing the app, insisting there had to be an explanation. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But then I noticed something. The account hadn't warned us that Mark would disappear. It had answered his question. That meant the rules weren't predictions. They were instructions. And we'd just learned what happened when you broke one. For the first time that night, nobody made a joke. Nobody said it was a hack. Nobody said we should reboot our phones. We simply sat there, staring at the chat, afraid to type anything at all. I wish I could tell you those were the only rules. They weren't. There was a fourth rule. We didn't discover it until much later. And by then, it was already too late. A new message appeared. You have 47 minutes. We had 47 minutes. No Mark, and no idea what to do with either. Jake finally said it. What if we just stop listening? Lena stared at the screen. You mean ignore the warnings? Exactly. Maybe that's what it wants. Maybe every time we obey, we make the prediction happen. It sounded ridiculous, but it was our only option. The next warning appeared almost immediately. Don't turn on the hallway light. We stared at it. Nobody moved. Then Jake smiled. I'm turning it on. Jake, don't, Lena said. He walked into the hallway. The light switch clicked. Nothing happened. No scream. No shadow. Nothing. Jake came back laughing. See? We beat it. For 30 seconds, we believed him. Lena's phone vibrated. She looked down. Her face changed. What? She sent us a photograph. It showed all of us. Not pictures of us. Us. Jake was standing in the hallway. I was sitting at my desk. Lena was holding her phone. Sam was visible in the corner. The photograph had been taken from inside the room. From behind us. I looked behind me. There was nobody there. Jake stopped smiling. Who took that? Nobody answered. Another message appeared. You changed it. The hallway light flickered. Sam spoke. We weren't supposed to turn it on. Jake whispered. But the warning said not to. That's the point. I looked at the photograph again. Something in the background caught my eye. A dark shape stood behind Sam. I zoomed in. The image became blurry, but it remained. Then the account sent another message. The future isn't fixed. For 1 second, I felt relief. Then the next message appeared. But some things are. Beneath it came a timestamp. 11:47 p.m. The same time Mark had opened the door. Only this time, the timestamp was tomorrow. I couldn't stop thinking about the timestamp. 11:47 tomorrow. So while Jake and Lena argued about what it meant, I opened my laptop and started digging through old backups of our group chat. I found screenshots from years ago. Then I found something that made my hands go cold. There had been 6 members. Not 5. A 6th username appeared in an old screenshot, but the profile picture was completely corrupted, like the image had been scraped away. I searched the username. Nothing. Jake searched it too. Nothing. Then I found an archived message from the account. If you're reading this, I'm already gone. I stared at it. Jake leaned closer. Guys. He read the message again. That's Sam. Nobody spoke. I looked at Sam's name in our current chat. He was still there. His status said online. His typing indicator appeared for a second, then disappeared. I messaged him. Sam. 3 dots appeared. Then nothing. I went back through the archive and found another deleted message. Only part of it had survived. Don't trust the warnings. Lena whispered. What does that mean? I didn't answer. Because suddenly, the rules made sense. The warnings hadn't been protecting us. They had been controlling us. Every time we followed one, we moved closer to whatever future they wanted. And if Sam had known that years ago, then the question wasn't why he'd disappeared. It was why he had come back. My screen suddenly flashed. Sam was typing. Then a message appeared. I tried to warn you. Before we could respond, another message appeared beneath his. You were never supposed to find him. The account stayed silent for almost a minute. Then the longest message we had ever seen appeared. It listed everything that would happen during the next hour. Jake would leave his chair at 12:18. Lena would receive another call at 12:23. The hallway light would turn off at 12:31. And at 12:40, someone would scream. Every prediction included details so specific they couldn't have been guesses. Then one final line appeared. One of you will send this message. I read it twice. Something about the wording felt wrong. Not familiar. Personal. I looked at the message again and realized why. It was written exactly like I typed. Same punctuation. Same spacing. Even the strange habit I had of using 2 periods instead of 3. My hands started shaking. I opened my keyboard history. Words appeared that I hadn't typed. Don't trust them. The door is open. Sam is not Sam. Then another sentence appeared. You already know. I threw my phone onto the desk. Jake noticed. What did you see? Nothing. He stared at me. Why are you lying? I'm not. Lena immediately accused Jake of controlling the account. Jake accused her. Within seconds, we were arguing like strangers. The people I had trusted for years suddenly looked suspicious. Every silence felt deliberate. Every typing indicator felt threatening. Then my phone vibrated. A private message. No username. No profile picture. Just 2 sentences. You already know who sends the warnings. I stared at it, unable to breathe. Another message appeared. Look at your own account. My hands went cold. I opened my profile. For several seconds, everything looked normal. Then I noticed the username. It wasn't mine anymore. And beneath it was a message I hadn't written. I'm sorry I made you wait. I opened the account settings and almost dropped my phone. The mysterious account wasn't connected to another person. It was connected to our group chat. But the timestamp beside it was impossible. Tomorrow. Jake leaned over my shoulder. That's not possible. I didn't answer. Every warning we'd received had been sent from a future version of the same conversation. They weren't trying to save us. They were making sure we reached the future that had already happened. Every warning we obeyed created the event it warned us about. Every warning we ignored created something worse. It was a loop. A closed loop with no beginning. Then I noticed a scheduled message. It was attached to my account. The sender name was mine. The timestamp was tomorrow. I opened it. The message contained only one sentence. Don't let them read the final message. My stomach dropped. Guys, I whispered. Nobody responded. I checked the message details. It had already been sent. Then I understood why the future kept warning us. It wasn't trying to change what happened. It was trying to make sure we remembered it correctly. Because somehow, somewhere, we had already lived through this night. And tomorrow, we were going to send the warnings ourselves. That I finally understood who had been sending the warnings. Me. Not the me sitting there with shaking hands, but the version of me that existed tomorrow. Somehow, that future version controlled the account, and every warning had been sent backward through our group chat. The first warning had come from me. The warning about Mark. The warning about the door. All of it. I had spent the night trying to escape something I was destined to create. Then the final message appeared. Don't post this story. I stared at those words. Because I knew what happened next. I posted it anyway. Not because I wanted to. Because somebody had to receive the warning. And if this story reaches you because someone sent it to you, check your group chats. Look at the member list. Look for anyone you don't recognize. Look for messages appearing before anyone sends them. And if you find one, don't reply. Don't ask who sent it. Don't ask what happens next. I wish I'd followed those rules. My screen flashed. A notification appeared. New group chat member. I opened it. There was no profile picture. No message history. Just a username. Your username. I simply couldn't move. Then the account sent one message. You have 3 minutes. If you've ever seen a group chat message appear before someone sent it, don't tell me what it said. Just tell me whether it disappeared afterward. Because I think the warning just reached you.